Welcome to Mario Master 101. Today is a very special day. 1 decade ago, two things happened. One, the Lorax movie from Illumination came out. Pretty good movie, gonna be honest. But the second thing, Mario Party 9 came out. And just a refresher, Mario Party 9 is one of my favorite games of all time, and also the most important game of all time because it turned me into a gamer and my most nostalgic. So all three of those things are what this game is to me. Like, I know some of you guys don't like the car, but honestly, I don't mind it. Plus, even if I didn't like it that much, I can't deny that Mario Party 9 has lots of pretty good minigames. And you know what? You know how I made a top 10 worst and best Wii Party minigames and Wii Party U minigames? Well, those weren't necessarily special occasions, I just made them whenever I wanted to, but since Mario Party 9 has a special occasion for its decade-old anniversary, I'm gonna do more than rank 10. I'm gonna rank every single Mario Party 9 minigame from worst to best, in my honest opinion, which isn't objective, it's just personal. First, let's get into the rules. The first rule, I will only be including the minigames from free play, with one exception. If a minigame is pretty much the exact same with a few minor differences, I'll also include it. So, for example, Goomba Bowling and Extra is essentially the same, except you just have more turns. So it's pretty much the exact same, except just more turns, which isn't that big of a difference. So I'm also going to be including that in the Goomba Bowling spot. Also, all the minigames in perspective mode are just unique twists on minigames already in free play, so I'll be including the perspective mode minigames with the original free play minigames, and I'll just be including them into one, so that you don't have to deal with two of pretty much the exact same minigame on the list. So yeah, with that said, let's go! Also, I forgot to save this, but since it's a ranking and not just a top 10, I'm going to be able to include any amount of players that I want in this certain minigame, so yeah. And I will also be able to do 3, 2, and 1. So yeah. Also, I'm going to be able to decide any calm difficulty I want if we're playing with calms, because, I mean, it's a list of a ranking, not just a top 10. So I'm going to have my rules a little bit more open. So yeah, with that said, let's go! 78, Bowser Jr. Breakdown. Hey, look! A luck-based boss battle minigame! What could possibly go wrong? Oh, wait! Literally, all you do is roll a dice, hope for the best! Unlike other luck-based minigames, you can at least have some choices in those, but this one? No, all you do, literally, all you do is roll a dice, pray you win, and that's it. Which makes it even worse if it's a boss battle minigame, which this is a boss battle minigame. So, a luck-based boss battle minigame, you have no choices other than to just roll a dice and be like, I hope I win. That's literally it. There is no strategy to this game. Honestly, this is probably my least favorite luck-based minigame that I've actually played. Like, literally all you do, you press A, hope you win. That's it. You have no choices, just press A. Literally, the only saving grace that I can give this boss battle, the only saving grace, is that when it gets to Bowser Jr.'s mad, the music is pretty good. But that's not like it matters than the gameplay perspective, right? So, literally all you do is roll a dice. So, I can't put it any higher. It's earned bottom place. Like, honestly, it's sad how the worst minigame in Mario Party 9 is a boss battle. Anyway, moving on to 77. 77, Mob Sleds. Hey, look! It's not a luck-based minigame! That means we can take a break! Yay! The thing with this minigame, though, is that, honestly, it's kinda rigged for the 3. Like, the 3 are pretty much always gonna win. So, if you're the 1, well, say goodbye. Not to mention that Mob Sleds in perspective mode kinda sorta gave me PTSD because of how hard it was. So, honestly, the three are pretty much guaranteed to win this minigame, so it couldn't get much higher than Bowser Jr. Breakdown. I mean, nothing's worse than Bowser Jr. Breakdown. It's just it couldn't get much higher in general. But yeah, moving on to 76. 76 tackle takedown. Hey, look! It took like 3 seconds to defeat! Yay! It's not like that was like the fastest thing ever, and it was completely unfair for the one, because the 3 was pretty much guaranteed to win, plus it lasts like a few seconds. The reason I put it higher than Bobsleds, though, is that you don't need to prolong the one's pain, because it gets done faster, but honestly, I still can put it much higher. Anyway, moving on to 75! 75, Pitter Platter! I played Mario Party 9 for a very long time, and I'm still pretty bad at this minigame. Like, I'm trying not to make the ball fall, but, like, no matter how hard I try, occasionally the ball does fall, which isn't that good. Like, I played Mario Party 9 for a very long time, but I still, most of the time, just end up losing this minigame. Like, I played it for so long, and the fact that no matter what I try, I still most of the time just lose this minigame. Like, I played Mario Party 9 for, at this point, around a decade, and honestly, the fact that I'm still losing, like, pretty much all the time, I just couldn't put this minigame much higher because I just don't like it, because I've had this game for so long, and I still keep most of the time getting in last place. Like, I still don't think it's as bad as the unfair 1v3 or Bowser Jr. Breakdown, but it's just kind of bad because, you know, I just never got good at it, and I just couldn't put it higher because I've had this game for so long, and I'm still not good at it. Anyway, moving on to 74. 74, Babar King Babong. Hey, did you guys like your luck-based minigames break? Well, guess what? It's over. Now, we actually have to talk about luck-based minigames. Yay! So, essentially, in this minigame, what you want to do is try to pick a bomb and hope other people don't get the bomb. And, this is actually pretty hard. Like, it's honestly, most people are just likely to pick the same bomb as you, which isn't really that good, because it's gonna make the minigame go even longer. I mean, it's not unfair, it's just kind of stupid in a way, so yeah. I mean, it's not as bad as something like Bowser Jr. Breakdown, because you do have some choices of like what bomb you want to go to, but it is still luck-based, so I can put it much higher. Anyway, on to 73! 73, Womp Stomp. Hey, look, another luck-based minigame. Yay! The main reason I put this one higher than Babar King Babong is mainly because I think it goes faster, and 3 people can deal damage at once, which, you know, essentially makes it go faster, which, if it's luck-based, you kind of want that. And honestly, you're not as likely to get hit, so, you know, you're not as likely to, like, not get points. So, honestly, that's why I put it higher than Babar King Babong. But it is still luck-based, and you can't really polish luck-based up that much. 72, Peer Pressure. This minigame is also luck-based. The reason I put it higher, though, is because it's not a boss battle luck-based, so that makes it better. Also, I kind of like the fishing aesthetic and how you catch the cheap chiefs and try to avoid the urchins, and I honestly like the aesthetic, and you can also make lots of choices, which is pretty cool. So, and also, it doesn't like control bad, and it's not unfair, so, you know, that's why I put it at 72, and I didn't put it any lower. But yeah, anyway, on to 71! 71, Mecha Choice. The main reason why I put this one higher on the list than Peer Pressure is because in Mecha Choice, the characters actually have the reason to do the minigame. For Peer Pressure, you're just fishing for pretty much no reason, but for Mecha Choice, the Mecha Koopas are trying to attack you, which makes more sense why you want to run away and pick a door. Because, you know, you don't want to get hit by Mecha Koopas. So that's why I put this minigame higher than peer pressure, but you still can't fix the luck-based minigame that much. Anyway, on to 70. 70, Manner of Escape. And here's where people start to disagree with my list. Okay, the thing is, I don't hate this minigame, but it is just luck-based, and I couldn't really put luck-based minigames any higher. I mean, it's not like it's a bad minigame, it's just luck-based, and I can't put luck-based minigames any higher. The reason I put it this high, though, ahead of other luck-based minigames, is because I don't want people to get too mad that I put it this low in the first place. So yeah, but anyway, it is just luck-based, and I can't really enjoy luck-based minigames that much. So that's why it's at 70. I don't hate this minigame though. It's just luck. I can't really put luck-based minigames any higher. So yeah. Anyway, on to 69. 69, 10 to win. 10 to win is honestly probably my favorite luck-based minigame in this game, but it is still luck-based, so I couldn't put it any higher. The reason it's my favorite luck-based minigame in this game though is because, honestly, it's kind of like a game show in a way. Like, you try to keep track of it, and once you select it, you can go up, which is honestly really cool, and it makes it seem like a game show. Like, honestly, if this minigame wasn't luck-based, it would probably be even higher. Like, I actually kind of like this minigame, and it would have been higher if it wasn't luck-based. That's literally the only thing holding this minigame back. And honestly, it's pretty fun. It's definitely my favorite luck-based minigame in Mario Party 9. If it wasn't luck-based, it could honestly probably be in the top 30. This isn't even a joke. Anyway, this minigame is at 69. Time for 68. 68, Mecha March. Playing with another person who's actually real can be kind of hard, but playing with the CPU can also be pretty decent. So, honestly, I didn't know where to rank this at first because playing with another actual person was hard, but playing with the CPU was way better. So eventually, I just decided since it's not that good to play with an actual in real life person, I wouldn't put it really high, but since it's actually pretty decent to play with the CPU, I wouldn't put it that low either. And honestly, I think that this is the perfect spot for it, because in some aspects it's bad, but in other aspects it's good. So, yeah, that's why I decided to put it at 68. Moving on to 67. 67, Don't Look. Well, this minigame's pretty interesting. What you want to do is you do not want to look the way that the arrow points. The thing is, though, sometimes the controls in this minigame aren't the best, but sometimes they are pretty good. So, essentially, when the controls work, it's lots of fun, but when they don't work, it gets kind of annoying. So, I couldn't put it any higher because when it doesn't work, it's not fun, but when it does work, it is fun. So, I didn't put it any lower because it is fun, but I couldn't put it any higher because sometimes the remote isn't really that good for this minigame. I mean, it's not like Flip the Chimp. I mean, Flip the Chimp is an abysmal minigame, I'll just be honest. But yeah, this minigame, it can be fun, but it can also be kind of hard. So that's why it's at 67. On to 66. 66, Twist Ending. This minigame controls fine, and it is pretty fun to try to get first. Although, I don't think it's as fun as Don't Look, but the reason why I did put it higher than Don't Look is because, honestly, the controls aren't bad at times like Don't Look. They're pretty consistent, which, you know, Don't Look has the controls kind of inconsistent at times, which is honestly why I put this minigame ahead of Don't Look, because, I mean, you know, this one, the controls aren't as bad if you're, like, careful, which is lots of good strategy, which is pretty fun. But, I mean, it's not the best minigame, so I couldn't put it any higher, but, you know, it's pretty decent. So that's why Twist Ending is at 66. On to 65. 65, Goomba Village. I know some people don't like this minigame that much, but honestly, I find it pretty fun tracking. Basically, you try to catch the one with the most Goombas in it, and then catch that one, which is honestly cool. Like, it can be very confusing at times, so I couldn't put that any higher, but it is honestly pretty fun to count the amount of Goombas, and just try to see what house contains the most Goombas. It can honestly be lots of fun. Although, there is one other Goomba spotting minigame that will be coming up soon. But yeah, Goomba Village, it can be hard to keep track of at times, which is why it's not any higher. But it also can be fun, which is why I didn't put it any lower. So yeah, that's why Goomba Village is at 65. On to 64. 64, Line in the Sand. Honestly, I'm a little conflicted with this minigame. Trying to avoid the circles is actually lots of fun, but actually drawing the circles isn't that fun, in my opinion. Like, walking and trying to avoid the circles is pretty fun, but drawing them isn't that fun. So, I was a little conflicted of where to put this minigame, but eventually, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna put it in this spot because, I mean, I didn't think it was, I didn't think it was, like, I didn't think I was gonna put it any lower because, you know, it is lots of fun, so I didn't put it lower, but at the same time, it can also not be fun if you're drawing the circles, because in my opinion, I don't really like that much, so I couldn't put it any higher, so, you know, it's fun, but it's also not fun, which is why it's at 64. Anyway, on to 63. 63, Tuber Tug. Honestly, I have a lot of fun with this minigame, so why didn't I put it any higher, you might be asking? Well, in reality, all you really do is press A and B and shake the remote up and down. Like, I honestly find it lots of fun trying to improve your score, and it's honestly really replayable, but it isn't really that much technically impressive going on. So I kinda had to put it this low because, I mean, it doesn't have much going on. I mean, I still have lots of fun with it, but I honestly had to put it at 63 because there's not much going on. Like, I have lots of fun with this minigame, but I mean, I wanted to put it really high, but like, I couldn't put it any higher because there's not much going on. But yeah, this minigame is 63. On to 62. 62, Weird Wheels. Okay, so the reason I didn't put this minigame any higher is because I needed to find the right CPU speed to actually have this minigame be a challenge, because otherwise, it was way too easy. So, I kind of had to pick a right CPU skill in order for it to have, like, any challenge at all. If you go to, like, easy or normal, it doesn't have any challenge, but when you go to harder difficulties, it has more challenge. But the reason I couldn't put it any higher is because, you know, not every CPU difficulty had, like, decent challenge. Like, easy was way too easy. Like, this minigame's still fun. Like, I still like it a lot, and it's just fun to have a race. But it's like, if you have like an easy CPU, you're most likely going to win by far and not have any challenge. I mean, I put it higher because with the right CPU, it is fun. But I just couldn't put it any higher than that. So yeah, that's why Weird Wheels is at 62. On to 61. 61, Pix. This minigame honestly has a really cool picture of what honestly looks like a new Super Mario Bros. Wii, and I honestly really like how it has that aesthetic, and the minigame itself is honestly really fun too, trying to put together a puzzle, and honestly, I find it really fun. Plus, the picture aesthetic is really good too. Like, I couldn't put it any higher because sometimes the controls are kinda weird. I mean, it's not bad, it's just weird at times. But I honestly really like the aesthetic, and I also really like just making the puzzle together. Like, it's not even close to the best puzzle minigame ever in terms of controls and stuff. But I like the picture, so yeah, that's cool. That's why Pix is at 61. On to number 60. 60. Cage Match. This minigame can honestly be pretty fun to try to catch Bowser Jr. However, you do need to have the right difficulty to be able to actually have a chance to catch him. However, the reason I put this ahead of World Wheels is because honestly, I like working together in comparison to having to compete. Like, I know that's not necessarily the Mario Party way, but like, I honestly like it more, especially when it's like this. Plus, I like the style of this game. Like I like the aesthetic of this game. Like, you try to like catch Bowser Jr. and honestly, really cool. So yeah, that's why Cage Match is at number 60. On to 59. 59, Zoom Room. Hey, look! It's very similar to Cage Match, but in 3D. Personally, I prefer 3D to 2D, so that's why I put this one higher. However, it could honestly be interchanged depending on your preference. But yeah, Zoom Room is pretty much just that, but in 3D, where you try to catch Bowser Jr. And honestly, it can be lots of fun, which is why it's at number 59. 58, DK's Banana Bonus. Yeah, I'm surprised that I'm putting this minigame this high too. But the reason I did though is because, honestly, I like trying to see if you can go in the barrel. To just see if you can go up and get as many bananas. And I also like point minigames, which this minigame is. You try to get the most bananas, and since it's points minigame, I don't know why, but like, something about it is just satisfying to me. So yeah, that's why DK's Banana Bonus is at 58. On to 57. 57, Diddy's Banana Blast. In this one, you try to time your jump so that you can get more bananas than everyone else. So essentially, it's the DK one, but with more skill, and you know, I kind of like skill, which is why I put it above the DK one. So yeah, that's why Diddy's Banana Blast is at 57. On to 56. 56, Pinball Fall. In this minigame, you pick a ball and hope that you make it to the end. I honestly love minigames where you try to make it to the end the fastest. It's honestly really cool. Like, I honestly love these minigames like this. It's honestly really cool. Like, I've always liked the minigames where like you try to go down, and well, this minigame does exactly that. There's obstacles, and well, you just try to pick the ball that gets you there the fastest, and that's this minigame. That's basically what this minigame does, and it does it well. So yeah, that's why I put Pinball Fall at 56. On to 55. 55, Sand Trap. In this minigame, you try to trap Bowser Jr. While you may become uncoordinated at times, honestly, this minigame is still lots of fun to play in my opinion. Just try to trap Bowser Jr. Playing with in real life people is really fun, and playing with CPUs is also pretty fun. Oh my gosh, we're almost there, guys. Wait, are we gonna do it? Are we gonna do it? Are we gonna do it, guys? No, no, hold up, hold up, hold up. Yes, we did it. Yes, 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 let's go. Anyway, this minigame's honestly lots of fun to play with family, with friends, with CPUs, etc., which is why it's at 55. Honestly, it's lots of fun. Anyway, on to 54. 54, Bomb Barge. This minigame is intense, which is exactly what it wants to be. And in that regard, it's honestly really cool. Although, sometimes the bombs can get very annoying, which is why I couldn't put it any higher. But still, I honestly found that this minigame is really fun to just try to avoid the bombs, which is why I honestly put it at 54 and didn't put it any lower. Like, I know it gets done faster than other minigames, but this one honestly is pretty intense, which I kind of like just trying to avoid them, which is why I put it at number 54. It's honestly such a fun minigame in my opinion that, honestly, it brings the intensity. Like, it brings exactly what it wants. So yeah, that's why it's at 54. On to 53. 53, Launch Break. As one of the 8 people who actually like mashing buttons, this minigame gets a seal of approval to me. And also, I honestly like how you do 3 things instead of just 1 thing like Tuber Tug did. That honestly brings more immersion. Also, the aesthetic with your spaceship going off in the night sky. Look, in a few seconds it'll be nice. See? Now it's night, and you just get to blast off in the night sky. It honestly looks really cool, and I like the aesthetic too. So yeah, for all these reasons, Launch Break is at 53, and I honestly love the aesthetic. Anyway, on to 52. 52, Double Pounder. This minigame is honestly really cool. It's basically like Sand Trap, except honestly, I like it slightly more because the song is a remix of Mario Galaxy. Do. And you basically ground pound on the segments, and you know, it's basically the same. Except, I honestly prefer the music in it, which is why I put it higher. So yeah, Double Pounder is at 52. On to 51. 51. Here's an unpopular opinion. I actually like Toad and Go Seek. You might be like, Mario Master 101, isn't that just easy tracking? Well, it kind of is sometimes, but sometimes I honestly end up getting confused where Toad is. And it isn't a bad thing either, like Pitter Platter, because you genuinely want to know. Although this time, I was lucky. Ha ha ha. Also, another reason it's this high, Gamer27 said even if you didn't play it this way, you could just close your eyes and look at it. So, that can make it even more challenging. So, honestly, yeah, this minigame is pretty fun. Also, my favorite kid game, per se, is Hide and Seek, and yeah, I honestly really love the concept of hide and seek. Also, we party at Hide Hunt, which is really cool. But yeah, Toad and Seek is a really fun hiding game, which is why it's at 51. On to 50. 50, Ballistic Beach. I don't know what it is, but I honestly really enjoy playing this minigame. Like, it might be because of the calming music, and it might also be because you need to angle your cannon throws so that you can actually hit the balloons. Honestly, those are probably what it is. Just knowing that you have to just go up and down and change it, honestly, gives it lots of strategy. And honestly, I really like strategy like this. And I just find this minigame kind of addicting. Like, I could probably play it over and over again. And you'll figure out later how much I love games that I find addicting. Anyway, yeah, that's why Ballistic Beach is at 50. On to 49. 49, Block and Roll. Nathaniel's favorite minigame. Honestly, I find it fun how you have to try to just go in the right spot where you won't get hit, and also try to get the blocks in there in time. And honestly, it gives me great strategy. So, honestly, I already said how much I love minigames that involve strategy, and this one's no exception. Also, I'm gonna be honest, the fact that Nathaniel Nandy loves this minigame is honestly a nice plus. And, yeah, I like strategy minigames like this. Like, sometimes it can be a little unfair for the one, which is why I couldn't put that any higher, but honestly, for the most part, Block and Roll is a pretty fun minigame, which is why I put it at 49. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say. Hopefully I can make it though. Wait, whoa, hold up. Oh, come on. Anyway, yeah, even though I lost right now, this minigame's still lots of fun, which is why it's at 49. On to 48. 48, Chain Chomp Romp. In this minigame, you try to keep a careful eye. And then, you try to press those buttons. And, if you get the right one, then you'll be able to hit Chain Chomp, and you'll win. Something about just trying to track it and hitting Chain Chomp, especially with your other people, because you might keep track of the same one, and then you might accidentally just then you might accidentally all go to the wrong one. You go to the exact same one, and then other people might have to go to the wrong one because you went to the right one that everybody was keeping track of. And just the fact that this minigame can be kind of sadistic at times like that, it just brings out the true nature of Mario Party. Because, you know, trying to sabotage everybody. And that's why Chain Chomper Off is at 48. And the Mad song might not be as good as Bowser Jr.'s, but then again, I care more about the gameplay, and it doesn't take a genius to figure out that this is way better than the Bowser Jr. breakdown. So yeah, all these reasons is why this minigame is at 48. Time for your number 47. 47, Bowser Pop. Hey, guess what? Just like the Double Pounder, it also has Mario Galaxy music. However, I do think that I prefer getting the balloon slightly over the stuff that you did in Double Pounder, which is why I put this one higher. So yeah. Also, once you get all the balloons, you need to try to get Bowser Jr. And honestly, this premise of this minigame is pretty cool, and the fact that it also has Galaxy music is also really cool. And honestly, I like the concept where you try to get all the balloons. I also like the Galaxy music, and I also like the gameplay. And that's why Bowser Pop is at 47. On to 46. 46, Chain Event. Some of you guys might disagree because of how easy it is to get hit by the spike balls, but yeah, I still enjoy playing it. Honestly, since everybody's likely to get hit, it honestly brings the pain to everybody, but if you overcome the pain and try to be the one who gets down the fastest, that, my friends, is true dedication, which you only get in special minigames such as these. And just the fact that this minigame teaches you that there's pain, but if you get through the pain, you'll get a big reward, that is amazing. This minigame easily deserves to be 46. So yeah, Chain Event, easily 46. It teaches a lesson. You can't have glory if there's no pain. But yeah, with that said, on to 45. 45, Goomba Spawning. Hey, look! The minigame from Superstars was so good that they brought it into Mario Party 9! That's honestly really cool. Okay, jokes aside, this minigame honestly tests your memory, which I honestly like in minigames. It just tests your memory, and that's pretty much it. But honestly, I honestly love stuff like this. I love how it just tests your memory, and honestly, I like how this minigame in Superstars. Like, that's really cool. And I definitely see why it was, because, I mean, I love minigames that just test your brain. And this minigame does. So yeah, that's why Goomba Spotting is at 45. On to 44. 44, Ringleader. Honestly, I find this minigame lots of fun. All you try to do is try to get into hoops, but Nintendo found a way to make that lots of fun like this. And honestly, this is a minigame that I honestly like a lot. Like, you basically just try to go through hoops, but it's just fun. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's just party game fun. Like, you go through the hoops, like, you hold A and try to get higher, but you don't have to hold A if you want to get lower. But if you want to get the yellow rings, you need to hold A. But if you just want to get the red rings, then you can just swing the remote. It just, the fact that it's this immersive, like, I honestly find it lots of fun, which is why it's at 44. On to 43. 43, Whole Hogs. Whether you're on the 1 or the 3, it's honestly lots of fun. Like, I'd probably say that the 1 might be slightly more fun at times, but then again, there are also other times where the 3 would be more fun. And like, either way, whatever team you're on, you're gonna have a fun time. Like, if you want to be on the 1, well, you're gonna have fun. If you want to be on the 3, well, you're also gonna have fun. Basically, you just try to go up and try to make sure that other people don't hit you. And honestly, it can be lots of fun, which is why I decided to put at 43, because both sides seem like balance, honestly. Like, I've played this minigame, I've lost and won as both sides, so it's not unfair at all. And either way, it's fun. So yeah, this minigame easily deserves to be number 43. On to 42. 42, Piranha Patch. In this minigame, you're gonna try to get the flowers, but you need to make sure not to be too close, because if you're too close, then the piranha plant might get out and attack you. So you want to make sure that you're not too close, but you still want to be close enough to the point you can get the flowers. Honestly, this minigame's lots of fun to see what be a flower or not, and like I already said, I like score points in minigames, and, well, this minigame has that, and it's honestly lots of fun. Like, it's basically just taking a 50-50 chance, which is technically a little bit luck-based, but then again, it's not super luck-based because, you know, there already are other flowers too that you could get. So, yeah, I don't consider this minigame luck-based. So yeah, that's why this minigame is at 42. 41, Loggerheads. Fun fact, when I was younger, this was actually my second favorite minigame. And although I don't think it's that good now, I still like it. Basically, Whittle either gives you wood or bombs. And if Whittle gives you the wood, you try to hit it. But if Whittle gives you the bombs, then you need to try to hold A and try not to get hit by the blast. And honestly, this minigame is really immersive and just plain fun, which is why I put it this high. And, I mean, another reason I didn't put it any lower is because I didn't want to upset my past self that much. So yeah. Also, if you play in, like, easy difficulty, it can be really easy to just win. Like, I had to put this in hard difficulty to actually have it, like, an actual challenge, which is why I lost. But when I put it in easy or medium, I pretty much always won. It only gets actual challenge when you put it in later ones. It is still lots of fun though, and I really like the concept, which is why it's at 41. On to 40. 40, Ballistics. Well, this minigame is lots of fun. Basically, what you want to try to do is not get hit by the bullet bills, and this can honestly be quite a challenge at times. Like, it does get over pretty fast, but when you do play it, it's honestly pretty immersive, and it can be actually quite a challenge, which is why I put it at 40, because, I mean, it is short, so I couldn't put it higher. But it is also lots of fun when it's happening, so I couldn't put it any lower either. So yeah, that's why Ballistics is at 40. On to 39. 39, Pedal to the Paddle. This minigame's honestly lots of fun trying to work for your teammate and just trying to get first before Bowser Jr. and make sure Bowser Jr. doesn't get it. And honestly, this one can be lots of fun just trying to beat Bowser Jr. And I like racing games, and this one's kind of a racing game with strategy involved. And I honestly like this one a lot, which is why I put it at 39. Like, it does get over pretty quickly, but while you're playing it, it is actually lots of fun, which is why I put it so high. So yeah, that's why Pedal to the Paddle is at 39. On to 38. 38, Hazard Hold. This minigame's fun for the 1, and it's also fun for the 3. Honestly, I like minigames where it's fun for both sides. And yes, other 1v3 minigames we talked about has fun too for both sides. But honestly, I prefer this one to stuff like Whole Hogs because I honestly like just mashing buttons more than having to point at a sensor bar, which is why I put this one higher. So yeah, this minigame, for the 1 it's fun, and for the 3 it's fun, and yeah, I really like this minigame, which is why I put it at 38. On to 37. 37, Piantapool. Oh my gosh, guys! There's actual Piantas! Yes! Let's go! Gamer27 reference! Yes! Honestly though, this minigame's also pretty fun to just try to catch as many rings as you can, and just make the cheap sheeps go and get points. And it also has Piantas, so, I mean, that's a plus. So yeah, I honestly really like just the aesthetic and how you try to catch the rings and how it has pintas. So yeah, Pinta Pool is at 37. I honestly find this minigame to be lots of fun. Anyway though, time for 36. 36, Bumper Bubbles. I don't know why so many people hate this minigame. Honestly, I find it lots of fun. You just try to catch balloons and try not to get hit. And honestly, for a minigame, this is really interesting and just kind of what I want in a minigame. And like, I honestly like how you just try to like, you can also like push other people in, which I mean, is kind of Mario Party's addictive nature. But that also risks you getting hit, which I like the strategy. Like, honestly, that's really cool. Also, try to get more balloons than your opponents, so that's also strategy, and also try not to get hit. So honestly, I like this minigame a lot, and Gamer27 does too. So yeah, that's why Bumper Bubbles is at 36. Time for 35. 35, Spike and Span. In this minigame, you can basically make the ball go either direction you want and try to hit the other players, which I honestly find really cool in a 1v3 where you actually get to have like a huge role of what the other people do. And honestly, it can be lots of fun just doing that, which is why I put it so high. So yeah, this minigame, since you can make it like your own, you can make your own like ways for the ball to go. You can choose just by hitting it, which is really interesting. So yeah, that's why Spike and Span is at 35. On to 34. 34, Crossfire Caverns. I'm gonna be honest, I actually love the idea of trying to hit Bowser Jr. And the fact that you can like move and just hit him like this. And also you can hit rocks, and if you hit the rocks, well, he'll have less places to hide. And that's honestly really cool. And also, if you hit the other player, they're gonna get stunned, which might actually make you lose, which would be bad. But it's also more of a challenge. And this minigame has lots of challenge, which is honestly lots of fun. It has lots of stuff going for it, which is why it's at 34. Anyway, on to 33. 33, Fungi Frenzy. Personally, I honestly find Fungi Frenzy really addicting. Like, I know it's simple compared to other minigames we talked about, but honestly, I had the most fun with this one compared to all the other minigames we already talked about. Like, I just like just trying to see how many points you can get, and if you can get more than your rivals, which, honestly, for me, point minigames like this are honestly lots of fun. Like, I have lots of fun with Fungi Frenzy. Like, you just try to get the most mushrooms and try to get more than anyone else, which I honestly find point minigames like this very addicting, which is why Fungi Frenzy is at 33. On to 32. 32, Cheap Shot. This minigame is another point minigame, but you're in the water trying to grab Koopa shells, and honestly, trying to get the other Koopa shells and just trying to hit Cheap, I honestly find slightly more fun because the shells are more, like, scarce, so you're mainly gonna need to, like, fight for them, as opposed to, like, you're pretty much guaranteed to, like, get at least a few points in the section. But this minigame, honestly, I think has slightly more going for it than something like Fungi Frenzy. So yeah, that's why Cheap Shot is at 32. This minigame is actually pretty fun. On to 31. 31, Wiggler Bounce. Another point minigame, except honestly, I prefer this one slightly more because you just try to grab down the segments, but you want to get the red one, and the red one is very scarce. As opposed to the Cheap Shot, it is more scarce than, like, the platforms because, you know, other people might run into the shells. But this one, honestly, you only have one chance to actually get the red one, and that one deals the most damage. So just trying to get the red one and just score more points, honestly, I find really addicting. And I honestly like it a lot, which is why Wiggler Bounce is at 31. On to 30. 30, Ruins Rumble. My favorite 1v3 minigame. The thing is, I honestly like just trying to chase the other characters in this minigame. Like, I honestly like minigames where you try to chase other characters, and this minigame has that. And honestly, I kind of find this minigame kind of addicting to just try to chase all the characters, which is why I put it as the highest 1v3 minigame, and it's also why I put it at 30. Anyway, on to 29. 29, Blooper Barrage. Hey, look, another point minigame, except this time you need to shoot Blooper. And it has something unique. You need to try to hit the urchins or else you'll lose points. That extra bit of strategy puts it above Cheep Cheep and Wiggler in my opinion, because for those, you just try to get points, nothing else really happens. But for this one, you also want to make sure that you don't get hit by the urchin, which brings more strategy, which is why I put this one even higher, and honestly, this minigame's really good. Also, the Blooper is Mad music is really good. I honestly love it a lot. So yeah, that's why Blooper Barrage is at 29. On to 28. 28, Spike Strike. The main reason why I put this one higher than Blooper is because you basically need to try to get the golden hammer if you want to get the most points, and everybody else is going to be looking at it, so you need to try to press it for everybody else. But there's also other things, but at the same time, there's only 3 usually, unless there's even less. So this one forces you to strategize more than Blooper, which I personally like it more because of that. So yeah, that's why Spike Strike is at 28. Time for 27. 27, Buddy Bounce. You might feel like, Mario Master 101, this one has less strategy than the ones we talked about not so long ago. Why is it higher? Well, honestly, I just find this one more addicting. Plus, there's 10 balloons, and when you try to get the 10 balloons and actually get them, it's a rare occurrence, but a satisfying one. And honestly, since this one's shorter, I honestly think that I can play it more than the other minigames that, I can honestly play it more than Wiggler, Spike, and Blooper. So yeah. That's why this minigame is at 27. Time for 26. 26, Plunderground. In this minigame, you need to keep track of the multi-moles with the most gems, and then get them. And honestly, this minigame can honestly be pretty addicting and a good tracking minigame in my opinion. And I honestly like minigames that just test your memory. It's honestly really cool. Like, I love minigames like this, which is why Plunderground is at 26. It's honestly really just addicting to see you know where it's been. And honestly, yeah, that's really cool. Which is why this minigame is at 26. Time for 25. 25, Flopper Room. This minigame is honestly really addicting to see if you don't get hit. Like, I know it doesn't have much strategy involved, but I honestly like how addicting it is, and honestly, it's really addicting, and I can play it over and over again. Plus, it goes by pretty fast. And honestly, I like addicting games that go like this, which is why it's at 25. I could honestly play it over and over again. Anyway, time for 24. 24, Growing Up. In this minigame, you need to press the button that it says. And I honestly like minigames like this where you try to press the button that it says. And honestly, I find minigames like this very addicting. And sometimes just being addicting is all you need to be an amazing minigame in my opinion. So yeah, I just love minigames like this, and it also has an addictive nature, which is why I personally find it to be the 24th best minigame because it's so addicting. Anyway, moving on to 23. 23, Pista Mia, a Mario. Honestly, I find this minigame to be pretty addicting just trying to get the ingredients on first. Plus, pizza is my favorite food, so I kind of had to put it on in the top. I kind of had to put it on this high. So yeah, that's why Pista Mia Mario is at 23 because I honestly like its nature of just trying to get the ingredients on. And pizza is my favorite food, so I kind of felt obligated to put it in the top 23. So yeah, that's why Pista Mia Mario is at 23. Moving on to 22. 22. Socket or Lucky 2. I honestly like how in this minigame there's bosses which go to 1, 2, and 3. So, that basically means that there's lots of skill just trying to get to 3, but there's also skill trying not to get hit by the spinies. And honestly, I like bosses like this that have actual skill to them. Also, if you fall off, it'll take a while to come back, so beware. But yeah, honestly, I like minigames like this that have actual skill to them, which is why Socket Lucky 2 is at 22. On to 21. 21, Earn It. In Earn It, you basically need to see what the pattern is and help you get it right. So there's honestly lots of strategy to this minigame, and you guys know how much I love strategy in Mario Party. It's honestly really cool, and that's honestly what makes it 21. Also, you need to pay extra close attention to what the Earn says. I mean, not what it says, but like what it shows. Which, honestly, since it has skill like this, I kind of had to put it this high. So yeah, that's why Earn It is at 21. On to 20. 20, Card Smarts. Guys, we are finally in the top 20. Let's go! Okay, so basically in Card Smarts, you want to try to get a higher card than your rivals, but you also want to make sure not to pick your highest cards at first, because then the other characters might use the highest cards, which will make, that'll make them get points, and you need to get 3 points to win. And just the fact that you need to save your highest cards for some turns, but you might also want to use the cards for other turns, honestly makes it have lots of strategy. So, it's kind of like Earn It, except I'd honestly say that this minigame has more strategy, and, more strategy. I kind of like this one more than Earn It, because I do think it has more strategy, so yeah. That's why Card Smarts is starting off the top 20. On to 19. At 19, we have the most screw-some thing Mario ever probably had to deal with. That minigame, of course, is Smash Compactor. Basically, what you want to do is you want to get in the holes before the thing smashes. And honestly, this minigame has lots of skill. And honestly, it's honestly lots of fun to just try to get in the holes. So yeah, just because of it's fun, it's fun and it has strategy. Which is why, in my opinion, Smash Compactor is 19. Anyway, let's get to 18. 18, Skipping Class. Gonna be honest, I honestly like this minigame and how you need to press the buttons before the bar's done. So, essentially, it's pretty much a button masher. And honestly, I like button mashers a lot, to be honest with you. So yeah, this minigame honestly is a perfect 18 in my opinion. You could say this minigame has enough class to get 18. Okay, sorry if you didn't like that pun. Anyway, yeah, this minigame's honestly lots of fun in my opinion, and it's a button masher, and honestly, I kind of like button mashers like this. So yeah, that's why it's at 18. Anyway, moving on to 17. 17, Jigsaw Jumble. To be honest, it's kind of like Pick Fix, but instead of it being a 1v3, it's a free-for-all, which, honestly, for something like this, I prefer free-for-all way more. Basically, you just try to match the puzzles and just create one. And honestly, making a puzzle and just trying to get the right pieces can honestly be lots of fun. So yeah, honestly, I kind of like this minigame a lot, which is why I decided to put it at 17. Anyway, time for 16. 16, Pair of Aces. Gonna be honest, I honestly like this minigame a lot. It's a shooting game, but like Blooper, you need to press B to avoid the stuff that Bowser Jr. shoots at you. And honestly, I kind of like that thing for him. I kind of like that there's like skill, but also the point system. Adding both of them honestly makes a really great minigame that I honestly put at 16. It's such a great minigame. Anyway, that's my Pair of Aces is at 16. Time for 15. 15, Flinger Painting. Honestly, I find it really addicting just covering up everybody else's paint with your paint. I honestly love that you can do that, and it's just so addicting in my opinion. And honestly, whoever covers the most in the end wins. I honestly love this. And also, you have strategy, but it's also really just addicting to shoot over the other color. So yeah, I honestly like this minigame a lot, and it's super addicting, just satisfying to see that, which is why, in my opinion, I think it's deserving of 15. Time for 14. 14, Bumper Sparks, my favorite Bowser Jr. minigame. It's honestly really addicting to just push Bowser Jr. into the electricity. It is kind of challenging at times, but just seeing Bowser Jr. in the electricity, like, I don't know why, I'm just pushing him in there, in my opinion, is really satisfying, and I also like the strategy, which is why, honestly, it's at 14th place, and my favorite Bowser Jr. minigame. Like, in my opinion, it honestly deserves 14. It's just really satisfying, and just challenging, and just addicting. So yeah, those are all great things in the minigame, and I'm happy to say that this is 14. Anyway, time for 13. 13, Deck Dry Bones. This is a minigame that, honestly, I can't ignore its amazing ingenuity. Basically, the cards, you see them for a few seconds, they go down, and then you need to try to pick the right cards to defeat Dry Bones. So essentially, this is a strategy and a memory minigame, and I love both of those, so just combining those two is honestly really cool, and also really addicting in a way. Like, it's really addicting if you just combine memory and skill, and also strategy, which is really cool. Like, I just love the ingenuity of Deck Dry Bones, which honestly makes it 13. Like, just the ingenuity and, like, how fun it is. Also, at one point, Dry Bones does something else, which makes it even more, which makes it, makes it fun, because, like, if you wanna, like, take a chance, well, you can take a chance, and if it pays off, well, that's good. So yeah, all this stuff honestly makes me love Deck Dry Bones, which is why I put it at 13. Time for 12. 12, Snow Go. I love Mario Party 9's racing games. This is one of them, and honestly, it controls really good. Like, sometimes it might get stuck, but it's just addicting playing minigames like this over and over again in Mario Party 9. Like, I love them a lot, honestly. You basically want to just go as fast as possible, and honestly, I honestly really love this minigame type, because this one actually executes it pretty good. It's bite-sized, which means that you can play it multiple times without getting bored. So yeah, it's really addicting, and I honestly love the minigame in general. So yeah, that's why Snow Go is at 12. Time for 11. 11, Bowser's Block Battle. Before you're like, Wario Loser 202, this minigame's luck-based. Honestly, it's probably my favorite luck-based minigame I've ever played. That's because, honestly, it's not entirely luck. In fact, I'd honestly say that this is a helpful blend of both luck and skill. Because if you see Bowser, after everybody gets done rolling their dice and just shooting them at Bowser, Bowser does something that you need skill to avoid. You see, Bowser takes the block, and he ends up hitting you with fireballs, and you need to avoid them. But then Bowser throws a dice and summons a other boss, and honestly, that's really interesting. So you need to dodge these two. So honestly, I'd say this minigame is not just skill. I would say that not just luck based. Like, it's a mixture. It's not just skill. It's not just luck. It's a mixture of both. Which honestly, I'm okay with that. In fact, I honestly prefer it over some skill-based minigames by themselves, because the fact, what would you rather have? Just a pizza, like, what would you rather have for a pizza? Stuff that you already like, or stuff that you thought you'd hate, but they found a way to make it amazing. Yeah, that's what I expected. So yeah, that's why Bowser's Block Battle is at 11. Time for 10. The top 10 cream of the crop. 10. Polar Extreme. I'm gonna be honest with you, I honestly like this minigame a lot, as well as many other people in the Mario Party 9 fanbase, such as my brothers. Honestly, I just like how you can just do platforming. Like, I love platforming games a lot, and the fact that Mario Party 9 has them like this is honestly really cool. And honestly, I just love being able to race. Like, it's a race platformer game, and also the aesthetic with the penguins and the ice. I honestly like all of it, which is why I personally think that this is number 10. On to number 9. 9. Player Conveyor. To be honest, I honestly like this minigame and just trying to have the skill to get to the end. Like, honestly, I just really like being able to just have a minigame like this, and you need to get to the end, which honestly takes more skill, and because of that, I honestly like it slightly more than other skill-based minigames. So yeah, that's actually really cool, and since, you know, you need to get to the end, and since you need to go to the pipes, you don't know which pipes you need to go to until you're in it, so that's more strategy, which is another reason why this minigame is at number 9. So yeah, honestly, I really think the Player Conveyor deserves number 9. On to 8. 8. Tumble Temple. You still need to avoid this stuff like Bombardge. The thing is though, these things, the spike balls, are way bigger than the bombs, so honestly, I just had more fun trying to avoid these. And once everybody tries, it can get hectic. And, I mean, it's Mario Party fashion, so, I mean, it makes sense for it to be hectic. And honestly, it can be lots of fun trying to avoid the spike balls, which is why this minigame is in 8th place. 7. Magnum Mayhem. Yes, this minigame is mayhem, but in such a great way. Basically, you just try to stay on the platform and try to attack everybody else. So, honestly, it's lots of fun just trying to attack everybody else, and when everybody's attacking, it can get very hectic. And honestly, I love minigames like this, where you just try to have skill and just try not to get hit. And, I mean, it can be kind of hectic at times, just like Tumble Temple. However, I do prefer this one slightly more, because you can attack the other opponents. So yeah, that's why Tumble Temple is at 8. But this minigame, Magnum Mayhem, is at 7. So yeah, I like it more because you can attack. So yeah, attack the other opponents. That's why Magnum Mayhem is at 7. On to 6. 6. Sky Jinx. Honestly, there's something about Sky Jinx that I honestly really like. It's honestly probably because it's actually part of the 3D level. It honestly seems like it could be in 3D land or something, which honestly, I like being able to play like level minigames like this, and luckily Sky Jinx is that. Plus, right here you have 2 choices. I pretty much always pick the clouds, but you know, it is still fun picking the other way. I just always prefer the clouds because, I mean, it's always been a convenience sake. But yeah, the fact that you can kind of play like a 3D level a little bit, honestly, is really cool. Which is why, in my opinion, Sky Jinx is 6. On to 5. 5. Speeding Bullets. Basically Snow Go, but honestly, I prefer it more because in the style it is. Like, it looks 3D, and you honestly just want to try to go as fast as you can, and there's more like obstacles to navigate, and this minigame is honestly lots of fun. Like, you just try to avoid all the obstacles, and I honestly love racing games in Mario Party, and this is no exception. Speeding Bullets might actually be one of my favorites, gonna be honest here. Like, I honestly find Speeding Bullets to be a really fun minigame that honestly, I can play over and over again. So yeah, Speeding Bullets is a racing game, and I love racing games like this. It's also really replayable, and yeah, that's why Speeding Bullets is at number 5. 4. Goomba Bowling. Remember when I said that I'd be able to include the extra mode for Goomba Bowling? Well, that's exactly what I'm doing. Goomba Bowling is one of those minigames where if you play the extra, it's honestly addicting, and you can play it with family and friends because there's multiple rounds. And honestly, it lasts a pretty long time because it's an extra minigame, and honestly, the main minigame of 3 play is basically this, but not as long. But honestly, I prefer this version, but I'm including both the versions in the exact same spot. So yeah, Goomba Bowling is honestly a great bowling minigame. It's kind of like Wii Sports Bowling. In fact, I'd honestly say that it's pretty much the exact same, honestly, except with Mario stuff. And Mario stuff is pretty cool. My only complaint is you can't throw the ball backwards like in Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort Bowling, but I mean, that's not a big complaint. This minigame is still really fun. I mean, it's bowling, what do you expect? Of course it's gonna be fun, especially if you play with 4 players. This minigame is honestly a really replayable one, and the fact that you could probably get the entire family together and just play this, with nobody being like, honestly, I don't even think some people include this in as just a normal minigame because of how amazing it is. But I said that I would be able to include it, and honestly, I like it a lot. So yeah, that's why Goomba Bowling is at number 4. Just a reminder, well, not really a reminder because I haven't told you guys yet. Just a warning that these top 3 minigames are honestly 3 of my favorite minigames out of any Mario Party. So yeah, let's move on to number 3. 3. Upward Mobility. I'm gonna be honest, this minigame is a great replayable time. I could probably play this minigame in like 20 times every single day. Like, it's lots of fun. Like, it's so replayable. I play with my brother. We keep trying to like do races and see who can do it the fastest. And honestly, every time I play it, I end up loving it. Like, it's so replayable. It's just, I love being able to improve my time and just playing it so many times. It's so replayable in my opinion. It easily deserves top 3. Anyway, just a reminder that these next 2 minigames are literally my 2 favorite minigames out of any Mario Party. Like, literally my 2 favorites out of any Mario Party. With that said, let's get to number 2. If you've been paying attention, there are 2 minigames left. Peak Precision and King Boo's Puzzle Attack. One of these is 2nd place, and the other one is my favorite minigame of all time. In 2nd, we have King Boo's Puzzle Attack. Now, this minigame is incredible. I love Mario Party puzzle games like this, and this one is my favorite puzzle game in any Mario Party. And honestly, I'd honestly say that it's kind of in the likes of Tetris in my eyes. I know you guys are probably gonna disagree, but I just love the skill. Like, I love it. I could play this minigame so many times without ever getting bored. Like, so many times. I love this minigame so much. So much. This minigame means so much to me. Like, I just love playing it. Whenever I play it, I always end up having a phenomenal time. Like, I love King Boo's Puzzle Attack. Such just a great puzzle minigame. It's my favorite puzzle minigame out of any Mario Party, and heck, one of my favorite puzzle minigames just in general. So yeah, it easily deserves number 2. Easily. But now, on to number 1. Be honest, if you know me on Discord, you knew this was gonna be number 1. And heck, I knew it was gonna be number 1 from the second I made this list. Peak Precision is so much to me. It just means so much. It's my favorite Mario Party. It's my favorite minigame from any Mario Party in general. Yes, I prefer to book squirm, don't at me. And honestly, this minigame is so replayable. I constantly try and improve my time. As of right now, I have around 7 seconds and 25 milliseconds. And honestly, I love everything about Peak Precision. I also think the Wii Remote is a great controller to play this on. Like, it really works for me because I think it has just the right amount of placement with the buttons for this minigame. And I've also never played this top 100, but honestly, I assure you, if I ever did play the top 100, it would be because of this minigame. I'm gonna play it again. This minigame is just amazing. And Nintendo, bring Peak Precision back to Mario Party Superstars. Peak Precision is such a great minigame, such a joy to play in my eyes. I just love Peak Precision. It's so great. And like, there's so much strategy. And if all players know what they're doing, it's gonna be intense. And this minigame, just press the buttons, so much strategy. I already told you before I like pressing buttons like this, so essentially this is kind of like growing up, but like so much better. Like, not that this growing up, but this is literally my favorite minigame out of any party game. Heck, I'm still playing it while I'm gushing about it. I could literally gush about this minigame for hours. For literal hours. I could gush and gush and gush. But eventually you're gonna be like, you've been talking for way too long, so, you know, I'm just gonna cut it here. Peak Precision, my favorite Mario Party minigame out of any Mario Party. And yeah, it's phenomenal. 10 out of 10, would recommend, could play so many times, just, yes, easily number one. No contest, I just love this minigame so much. Easy one. Mario Party 9 is a decade old. It means so much to me, and it's still one of my favorite games of all time. It had so many minigames. Some like Bowser Jr. Breakdown weren't that good, but stuff like Peak Precision, yes, Nintendo, you nailed that stuff out of the park. Peak Precision is amazing. This entire game is amazing. I love Mario Party 9. In fact, the music that's playing right now is genuinely phenomenal. Mario Party 9 is such a great game. And Mario Party 9, thank you. Thank you for all these minigames, all these side modes, all these boards, even for the people who don't like the car, at least admit that you like some side modes. And honestly, Mario Party 9 is one of my favorite games, and most important, and most nostalgic game of all time. Mario Party 9, you have earned a spot in my heart as the game that turned me into a real gamer. You are amazing. I love you so much, Mario Party 9. I'll never forget the wonder you gave me. You are the reason I have a fan base. You're the reason I'm making videos. You're the reason so many things are happening in my life right now. I can't thank you enough, Mario Party 9. So yeah, thank you for watching this video, everyone. Did you hate it, or did you love it? Let me know in the comments below. And yeah, I don't expect you to rank every single Mario Party 9 minigame. This took a very long time to make, personally. But if you wanted to give me like a top 10 worst or a top 10 best, I'd read that. But yeah, with that said, make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and hey, you should play Mario Party 9 for yourself if you haven't. Even if you don't like the car, I bet you'd like at least a few side modes. And yeah, with that said, thank you so much, Mario Party 9. Thank you for all the memories. Bye, guys.